Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the next case that I want to talk about, Jennifer Kesse, and what happened. Jennifer Kesse had failed to report to work on January 24th, 2006. Later that day, she was declared missing by her family. Family members could not locate Jennifer, and they could not locate her vehicle. 2 days later, Jennifer's car was found at a nearby apartment complex. When viewing surveillance footage, investigators found an unidentified person parking Jennifer's car at 12 p.m. on the day that Jennifer Kesse went missing. No one has been able to identify the person of interest, and Jennifer has never been found. So what happened? From all appearances, Jennifer Kesse of Orlando, Florida, was a happy, successful, well-adjusted 24-year-old with a bright future. On January 23rd, 2006, Jennifer had just returned from a vacation with her boyfriend in the Virgin Islands. She drove to work the next day from her boyfriend's house in southern Florida. She was last seen leaving work at 6:30 p.m. on January 23rd. She placed 3 phone calls, one to her family, one to her friend, and last was her boyfriend. Her boyfriend lives approximately 2 hours away from where Jennifer lives, and the last phone call to her boyfriend was around 10 p.m. The next morning, her boyfriend became concerned because he hadn't heard from her via phone call or via text. His attempts to try and contact Jennifer went straight to voicemail. Investigators had later determined that Jennifer's phone had been turned off. A couple hours later, after Jennifer had failed to appear for an important work meeting, her employers contacted her parent, who hadn't heard from her either. Her parents had made a 2-hour drive to Jennifer's condo. There were signs that Jennifer had just recently showered. Her bed was unmade, and there was a wet towel and wet droplets still covering the shower. It's notable, despite the fact that an unknown man's sweater was found in her laundry hamper, and her condo was never treated as a crime scene. I think that's a huge mistake. By that evening, authorities had been contacted, and Jennifer's parents had started to distribute missing flyers of Jennifer with a picture of her on it. 2 days after Jennifer had disappeared, someone a little over a mile from Jennifer's condo had noticed that a car that resembled Jennifer's 2004 black Malibu had been shown on the local news. And then a person was shown dropping Jennifer's car off on surveillance and walking away from the vehicle around noon on January 24th, about 4 hours after Jennifer had been abducted while leaving her apartment for work. Unfortunately, the surveillance was not video, but more like snapshots taken every 3 seconds. There were 3 snapshots of the person who dropped off Jennifer's car, but go figure, in every snapshot, the face was obscured by bars and gates of the building. Here is the grainy footage of the person of interest.
It pulls in and backs up and then pulls back in again. Whoever's driving the car stays in there for about 35 seconds.
Then, a ghostly figure emerges from Jennifer's car and calmly strolls away, as if on an afternoon walk.
And if you'll focus on the 2 darker pillars on either side of the gate.
There he is.
This person is the main suspect in Jennifer's abduction and should be easy to identify. But because the security cameras only take a photo every 3 seconds...
Good Lord, in each frame that the camera took a picture, his face is obscured.
Even though the FBI and NASA sure why NASA was involved. But even though FBI and NASA assisted in investigating the photos, they were even unable to identify the gender. And there are mixed feelings on the gender. I myself see a female. A lot of others see a male. I'd be curious to know what you think, male or female. The best way they could tell anything is that the person was definitely short, between 5'3" and 5'5". A reporter would later call the suspect the luckiest person of interest ever. A police dog was able to trace a scent that led from the car back to Jennifer's building, suggesting that the person who dropped off the car returned to the site of the abduction. Suspect number 1. The last person that talked to her was her boyfriend. Police did interview an ex-boyfriend of Jennifer Kesse's who was openly distraught about their breakup. He also had wanted to get back together with Jennifer, and I guess he was really upset and distraught that she had taken a vacation with her new boyfriend. After Jennifer and him broke up, I guess it was stated that he would drink himself senseless for 2 weeks, and he was inconsolable. Suspect number 2. Construction workers at Jennifer's apartment complex. At the time of Jennifer Kesse's disappearance, Jennifer's building was under renovations, and many of the workers were undocumented immigrants, and a lot of them were living in unoccupied condos on the property while still working there. The reason that some people suspect one or more of the construction workers is the fact that the sniffer dog had traced the person who dropped off her car right back to the building. Police had attempted to interview as many as 100 construction workers, but turned up with no leads. It also seems highly unlikely that one or more of these construction workers could have pulled off an abduction and murder without at least some of the other construction workers finding out. Suspect number 3, a jealous coworker. Investigators interviewed a coworker of Jennifer's named Johnny Campos, but had concluded he was not guilty. However, these facts are interesting. Although a married man, other workers alleged that Campos made it very clear that he desired a relationship with Jennifer, but was rebuffed because not only did she have a boyfriend, she refused to date co-workers as a matter of the policy. Makes sense. A co-worker named Adam said that a few days before Jennifer disappeared, Campos was upset that Jennifer was dating her boyfriend instead of Campos. Adam testified that he saw an email between Kesse and Campos, and during which Campos reported was unhappy that she refused to date him. He also said when Campos saw an email that Adam had sent to Jennifer in which Adam had told her she looked nice today. Campos then grew agitated, and Campos asked Adam if he was interested in Jennifer sexually. On January 23rd, the day she returned to work, after her vacation, a coworker reportedly said that they heard a conversation between Jennifer and Campos was allegedly upset that she went on this vacation. Regardless of Campos' feelings, Jennifer went on to tell Campos what a wonderful time she did have. On January 24th, the day of Jennifer Kesse's disappearance, Campos did not show up to work until noon. He was reportedly agitated and excused his lateness by saying that he got pulled over and got a traffic ticket. But the funny thing is, this was actually never verified. The day after Jennifer went missing, Campos and a co-worker named Adam were discussing the case. Campos allegedly told Adam that she had likely already been eaten by alligators. To this day, Jennifer Kesse is still missing, and the case remains unsolved. And it is one of the most high-profile missing person cases in American history. However, with Jennifer Kesse's case and many other unsolved mysteries, disappearances, comes the conspiracy. The conspiracy is Jennifer was possibly sex trafficked. Now, you think about 2006 when she went missing, and the talk of sex trafficking wasn't quite as common to hear about as it is today. So here's the breakdown of the conspiracy. Some wonder, has law enforcement looked into Jennifer's company that she worked for? How many black tie affairs did Jennifer have to attend? Jennifer could have been noticed by some obscenely rich man or woman, and being a wealthy person, maybe see her as a collector item. There was mention of company bonuses and possibly why she went to St. Croix. Could this allegedly possibly have been a bonus? And then when she's there, someone saw her and was able to track her movements. The conspiracy also was stated that the buyer of Jennifer could have allegedly had contacts in St. Croix. And in this conspiracy, the person says, may sound like a nut job saying this, but I mean, they find it's possible. But they said there has to be a reason why she just vanished. And another person had stated that they don't think this person could be too far off on their conspiracy because the company that Jennifer had worked for is a big company, and any one of the employees could have had something to do with Jennifer's disappearance. They had also stated they hadn't heard much about anyone from her work being investigated, but at the time when this was talked about, I don't think that would be something that would have been told to the public. Her employer had also offered up a large sum of money to locate Jennifer. And then last, someone said that they do not believe that the company had anything to do with Jennifer's disappearance, a company as like a whole. They would have a lot to lose if that was the case. They also said that they believe that two people from her company, actually they said a couple people from the company could have definitely been involved in Jennifer's disappearance. An interesting fact that would ring a little truth to it possibly being an employee or employees is Jennifer's employer is the one that got the ball rolling on her disappearance. The strange thing is that her employer called her parents. How many employers call someone's parents an hour after they don't show up for work? I mean, we're talking about an adult here. So an hour or two after someone doesn't show up for work, the likelihood of an employer calling their parents, I mean, I've just never heard of that. So to me, that waves a red flag. Why would they do that? In my opinion, unfortunately, Jennifer's disappearance really isn't all that complex. I don't believe she was sex trafficked, and all the answers could honestly be right under the nose of the investigators. But it's fairly common for all the answers to just lie within a couple miles of the victim's home. The fact that Jennifer's car was found a mile away from her condo adds a little bit of weight to this theory, in my opinion. In September 2009, Drew Kesse Jennifer's father said that at this point he does believe that his daughter was sex trafficked. He said Eastern Europe is a possibility, Japan and or Korea are likely destinations for Americans in the sex trade. And he wondered about Mexico as well. It is interesting to me that nobody has came forward with information to claim the reward money. It was $1 million to find Jennifer. Someone must know something. So what's your all's theory on what happened to Jennifer Kesse? What's your theory on the number of people that were involved in her disappearance or who has knowledge of her disappearance? And why wouldn't anyone come forward?